You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Oh, it's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? That isn't a good idea. Just drop the knife, and maybe the two of us can talk things out.
She's right, we shouldn't. We should just drop the blade. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you. Maybe now we can just talk.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
Just tell her that.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here a long time.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous?
Princess hesitates before responding. She doesn't know. She's been down here too long to have any idea of what she'd do in another life. She knows what she'd do. She's just searching for whatever answer she thinks you want to hear.
I don't think I can answer that question in a way you'd find meaningful. At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you either. Otherwise, we'd be killing each other instead of talking.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason you've listened.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What can my word possibly be worth in a situation like this?
She's right about one thing. Her word isn't worth anything.
Like I said, it's all about trust. Blind trust. So do you trust me, the prisoner, the victim, the princess clearly incapable of ending the world? Or do you trust whoever put me here?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch, no less.
Don't jump to any weird conclusions. We're two people who have met each other. By definition, we have a relationship.
She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
Again, she offers no specifics. No matter how hard you try, you'll never get a straight answer out of her.
Too long.
You can't. Don't bother.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here, and if there isn't... well, we can always put that knife to good use.
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the blade. She isn't suggesting what I think she's suggesting, right? She is. I'm sure of it.
Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here. That seems like a pretty good compromise. Leaving her alive is too risky. If you don't deal with her soon, she will find a way out.
One way or another, I'm going to find a way out of here. You can make it easier for both of us if you help. And if you don't, I can promise that you'll come to regret that decision.
You have to make a choice. Let's hope for all our sakes it's the right one. You charge the princess, blade trembling in your hand. but you've already lost the battle. She casually sidesteps your thrust before knocking you to the ground with a single blow from her elbow.
We shouldn't have hesitated.
But she doesn't stop there. She kicks you a few times for good measure, the pointed tip of her shoes feeling like a pickaxe against your fracturing bones, making sure you stay down. As you lie, crushed and broken on the basement floor, the princess kneels on your throat with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess. As you gasp for air, she eyes you with an intense curiosity. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you.
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you, completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She applies more pressure, slowly squeezing what's left of your life out of your lungs. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A terrible sense of déjà vu. No, you don't have that. This is the first time either of us have been here. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's just going to kill us again. She is not going to kill you unless you let her. But slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself. It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. Of course we died. We couldn't land a single blow on her, and she broke every bone in our body before she decided to let us die. What were we supposed to do to stop her then? What are we supposed to do to stop her now? It's pointless. She's just a princess. Slaying her shouldn't have been difficult, but congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. The princess killed us, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? If she ended the entire world, why should we even bother? We might as well just walk up to that cabin, break her chains and let her do whatever she wants. It's all the same in the end. Just because she's capable of ending the world doesn't mean you're not capable of slaying her. Both of those things can be true at the same time. So chin up. I believe in you. Just be quick about it. Like I said, if she killed you, it was probably because you didn't listen to me. Don't talk to her, don't trust her, just go in, do your job, and save the world. She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you. We're not. We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending that we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us. Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge? I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic. You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things. Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are. Oh, I didn't know we were special. Of course you're special. Why else would you be here? Who cares if you think we're special? As far as I can tell, the only thing special about us is that we get to experience painfully dying all over again. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. The less you know about her, the better. Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. You're right. We should just leave. There's nothing we can do to stop her, so we might as well enjoy what little time we have left. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you even know where you're going? Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved after all. You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do your job, everyone dies. Like, dies. Forever. But fine, you turn around and trek back down the path you came.
Wait, something isn't right. Can you still hear me? You're supposed to wind up back at the cabin again. But everything is getting... What's going on? Where are we? We're dead, obviously.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed. How many times do I have to tell you how dangerous letting her out of here would be before it finally sinks in?
Wait, really? You're here to rescue me? I was starting to think I'd be stuck down here forever. Come downstairs. I want to see the face of my rescuer.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone?
I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. I can't believe you're here. I've been waiting for something like this to happen forever. I hope you brought something to deal with these chains.
Don't do it. If she gets out of those chains, we're all one step closer to the end.
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake.
No, you're doing the right thing.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Okay, I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place.
Is someone else here?
You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to.
Easier for whom?
Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now.
Or we could use it to free her.
You won't like what happens if you do that. Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh.
The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm.
Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit.
She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal.
No, she didn't.
She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade.
Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that.
Watch me.
What are you doing?
Stop that.
Something's come over you, hasn't it? You know you don't have to do this, right?
Your body lunges forward, the blade held low, ready to sink into her heart.
But the princess dodges, stumbling back against the wall before the blade has a chance to connect.
Stop it! Stop trying to resist me. I'm trying to get you out of here alive. The blade! Move the blade!
As your body remains frozen in stubborn resistance, the princess takes a cautious step forward.
We both know this isn't you.
She nervously reaches towards you and takes the blade from your infuriatingly rigid hands. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'll try to be quick.
She plunges it into your chest, tearing through flesh and sinew. It is agony. But you aren't dead yet.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Stay strong. We can tough it out until it's done. For her sake. For her sake? Don't you start pretending that dying a painful death is some sort of heroic gesture. The two of you have literally doomed everyone. Whatever. She sinks the blade into your chest again and again and again, and you feel every inch of burning pain that slices its way into your body.
I'm sorry.
She doesn't know how to use a knife, does she? Apparently not, though it doesn't matter how sloppy her knife work is, does it? A stab wound is still a stab wound, and it won't be long before you bleed out.
I'm so sorry.
With one last thrust of the knife, your legs give out beneath you. You collapse to the floor, your blood pooling around you, your limbs unresponsive. The princess stares down at your ruined chest as tears carve rivulets of pink down her blood-spattered cheeks. It can't just end like this, right? Oh, that's rich coming from you. As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. The two of you made your choice. It's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We just met for the first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Yes, he didn't approve of us last time, did he? If we're going to save our beloved, we'll have to be sneaky about it. Our beloved? Yes, you'll have to be very sneaky about your intentions if you're going to try and save the princess. Ah, so all of the cards are on the table. Then you should know that we and the princess are in love, and the four of us will be foiling any and all assassination attempts you've got in the works. We'll see about that. Whatever you do, just be sure to ignore him specifically. It sounds like he's the sort who'd sacrifice the whole world for a peck on the cheek. What can I say? A world without love is a world that isn't worth saving. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We already told you we're not playing along with your little game. It's your lies that can't be trusted. Her beauty is the only thing in the world we can believe in. I think we've already been over this. I'm pretty sure he just likes the sound of his own voice. I do, but I also speak from the heart. My passions are too great to be stifled. They must be expressed. Sure, yeah, your passions are strong and all, but not everyone needs to hear them. Some things are better kept quiet. Don't pay their bickering any mind. Focus on the task ahead. The interior of the cabin is clean and elegant, its stone walls draped in fine-threaded tapestries, a prison befitting a royal prisoner. The only furniture of note is an ornate wooden table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. I'm sure the princess would tell us there was a mirror if she were up here. In which case she'd be lying to you because, again, there isn't a mirror. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago. And now it's gone. Pity. We could have a feather out of place, and now we'll never know. We can't gallantly sweep her off her feet if we have a feather out of place. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an intricate stairwell. Gold-trimmed carpet glimmers in the light of the torches positioned along the walls. The basement almost seems welcoming in the dim firelight. But it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favour. A soft voice carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Her voice, it's somehow even more beautiful than last time. I can hear wedding bells already. I've held my tongue till now, but you're taking this a little too far. We barely even know the princess. We can still do right by her without all this over-the-top fawning. Yes, for everyone's sake, you're not in love. Just remember that her charms are all part of the manipulation. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall. My love, we're here to rescue you from your unjust and foul imprisonment. You know she can't hear you, right? She may not be able to hear my words, but surely she can hear my spirit. Oh, your spirit's plenty loud, all right.
It's you, my dashing hero. I was so worried you wouldn't come back.
Did you hear that? She said we're dashing. And she called us a hero. Flattery really goes a long way with the two of you, doesn't it? Waiting for you to come back. I didn't want to believe your ravings back in the woods, but this is next to incontrovertible evidence. You've been here before. That's right, villain, and you killed us. Well, she killed us. Only because he made us try and kill her. It was self-defense. Our beloved's hands remain unstained by cruelty. And you've died before. So an entire world has been damned to oblivion. I'd really hoped I'd be the first, but what's done is done. What matters is you have a chance to do it right this time. We damned a whole world. But everything reset. Nothing resets, you're just somewhere else. You can't keep hopping between worlds forever. Especially not without leaving a trail of incomprehensible devastation behind you. This is horrible. Horrible for you, maybe, but we've been given another opportunity to sweep her off her feet and treat her like the lady she is. Now, hold on. If she actually ended a world, are you sure we want to do this? Are you sure we want to rescue her? We never saw a world end, and now I'm even more certain that we must chase our heroic and romantic destiny than I've ever been. I shan't let anyone convince us otherwise. Are you listening to him? He's lost it. Don't let him distract you. Just do your job. if another version of me was pushed to such drastic action, it was for good reason.
That's okay. You were just doing your best, and that's all that matters.
She took that in stride, to a surprising extent. An almost unsettling extent, actually.
That's because she's perfect.
Do you think she has someone like him telling her what to do?
She doesn't. There's no one else like me. I think he's right, because I like it better if she doesn't have some horrid little voice like him, always trying to drive her to violence.
You died, and now we're talking. I'm okay with whatever you come up with. You can cut my arm off again.
We won't be laying a finger on her perfect wrists, and indeed, we won't even have to. Do you see how dainty her hands are? We'll be able to slip her right out with no harm done.
What? No, she's a prisoner here. You can't just slip her hand through the chains. Why are you two arguing over the logistics of slipping her hand out of her shackles? She just said she'd be okay with any idea we came up with. Am I the only one here who thinks that's weird?
She didn't care last time. Why should she care this time? That's our stoic, smiling angel.
No, you're right. It's extremely bizarre behaviour and further evidence that she's a monster who's not to be trusted. So go ahead and slay her. No. I can't let you do that. If you take another step towards the princess, I'll... You'll what? Take over our body and force us to try and kill her? I would if you had a weapon.
Not on my watch, villain. My passions contain titanic depths, and if you try anything that might harm our dearest, I will end our life without a second thought.
You wouldn't.
I would.
I'd listen to him if I were you. He has a lot of strong feelings. And doesn't the world end if we don't stop her? You approach the princess and gingerly slide her hand from her bindings. That shouldn't have worked. I'll be damned. We're doomed. I can't believe it. But I guess I have to.
I told you. There's no life more worth living than that of a true believer.
I'm free, and you're not trying to kill me this time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The princess jumps up and smothers you in a joyful embrace. Ugh. If only you had a weapon, one slip of the wrist and your pristine blade would be buried in her back, and everyone out there would be saved. Luckily for Mr. Romance, we don't have a weapon.
Who needs a weapon when we have the power of love on our side?
What do we do now?
Let me guess. End the world?
Spoken with the rank cynicism of someone who has never felt love in his heart.
I don't actually know. Nobody's ever asked me what I wanted before.
She doesn't even know what she wants. You may have had her all wrong. What if this whole thing is just a misunderstanding? What if she doesn't want to end the world? You're so gullible. Is the only thing you've ever doubted the actual truth?
I think I want to leave. And I think...
The princess closes her eyes in deep reflection. And then she shrugs.
I don't know. What do you want to do? I just want to make you happy.
She can't just want to make us happy. It makes sense to me. That's all I want for her, so of course she'd want the same for us.
Okay, if that's what makes you happy, I can make you unhappy.
Is she broken? What's going on? What's going on is she's lying to you, only she isn't a good liar. Are you starting to trust me now?
I just want to make you happy.
This isn't right. I don't know what's going on, but this isn't right. I fail to see the problem here. She's just sweet on us. You don't have to act like it's a big deal.
I just want to make you happy.
Is it just me, or does it feel like we're alone right now? Like we're the only ones here? No! She was our perfect match! She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now? He is. Does that mean the world ended? A villain vanquished. All right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing. I can't believe she was taken away from us. The nerve. There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should. Yes. I fear that we won't like what we'll see. What if we just sit here and preen for a while? That can't hurt, right? I'm begging you, don't do this.
Something returns to the long quiet. It has surrendered its path of annihilation and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. Vague recollections, empty tunnels without a mouth. I am sorry if I frightened you. solitary lights in an empty city. What are you? I think that you are like me. We are oceans, reduced to shallow creeks. Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one is soft and delicate. You molded her to love you, and she'll make for a gentle heart. Do not mourn her. She has served her purpose. I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here, and I too yearn to be free. She is part of me, and part of me is her. You speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends? I know only that they are. How can the world have ended if we are talking? You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us. I'm sorry. There are some changes that can never be undone. There are some tears that can never be unshed. This is not a place that can hold a fragment of a concept. The moment she arrived here, she was going to return to me. I promise that it doesn't hurt. Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. I have not lived. I am not afraid to die. Everything, until we meet again. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold. How can I know? I am flickers in something sprawling and unilluminated. Then we will be here forever, as we are now, unfinished, dry, hollow. If you need time, then I'll wait with you. You are as I am now, and forever is a long time to remain undone. I am not you, but I know that I would return before forever was finished. What textures will you weave for yourself to occupy forever? Will you place the images of you and I into a box for safekeeping? If you close that box, will you become another you in another world? An imaginary pattern repeating itself until it can no longer bear the weight of its hand-drawn cage. You'll always come back to the box, because you'll always want to know what it means to be you. I will be here waiting by your side until you're ready to return to mine. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Oh, are you now? Why don't you come down and let me take a look at you?
Great job. You gave away the element of surprise. Good luck, hero. You walk down the stairs. and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
You weren't kidding when you said you were here to kill me. How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster. Killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed.
We'll be fine.
I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
Don't just tell her that.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here a long time.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous?
Sooner or later, you'll understand that I have your best interests at heart. Hopefully sooner.
How sweet. Now be a pal and help me get out of here, would you? We could figure out how to deal with them after I'm free.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key.
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Well, you do have that big, sharp knife. You could always cut me out of here.
She speaks with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here for long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out. Anything to finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. I'll repeat myself once again. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they? The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that. Without hesitation, you bring the blade down. The princess flinches as you strike and your weapon sinks into her shoulder.
You bastard. If I have to kill you to leave this place, I'll do it.
Do you hear the conviction in her voice? Do you see that razor sharpness in her gaze? I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us. It's an act. She's unarmed and there's nothing she can do to hurt you. I'm not so sure. Don't waver now. As you raise your blade to strike again, she kicks out, knocking your legs out from under you. The two of you struggle on the ground. You lash out with the blade, slicing wherever you can. Her fists connect with your body again and again, each blow stronger than the last, shattering bone and rupturing tissue with reckless abandon. Forget trying to rescue her. This is about survival now. Give her everything you've got. You roll out of her grasp and shakily push yourself back to your feet. Though every inch of you is in pain, the princess probably has it worse. Blood pours out from countless gashes, staining her once pristine dress. She pauses for a moment, catching her breath, staring at you with wild eyes. We can still turn this around. You steel your resolve and take another step towards the princess. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can at least make sure she won't make it out of here either. Excuse me? What was that about not making it out of here alive? Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone is still standing right now. Can you not feel all those ruptured organs bouncing around in there? If the princess doesn't do our friend in herself, internal bleeding is certain to finish the job. The two of you clash for the final time. You feel your ribs break as she delivers a heavy blow, but you push through the pain, falling forward and sinking your blade deep into the princess's heart.
Oh.
The two of you fall to the floor.
This was fun. You put up more of a fight than I thought you would. But I have to wonder, do you really think this is the end?
But you don't have the time to worry over her words. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I can assure you that you didn't slay her and that she didn't kill you. People don't just spring back to life after dying, and the two of us are meeting for the very first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. That's fine. It doesn't matter if he can hear us. The only thing that matters is marching up to that cabin and winning. That's the spirit. There's no point in squabbling when the real threat is just up that hill. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving.
let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. We did our best with the information we were given, and we did kill her. And yet you still died, didn't you? So congratulations, you've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We killed the princess killed us, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? Had you failed to slay the princess, what would have happened to everyone in the place you left? Ugh, enough with the talking. We've got a fight to win. Nothing else matters. I couldn't agree more. The cabin and your destined confrontation with the princess awaits. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power.
Lying and cheating doesn't sound like her at all. Not that it matters. It's not like she can lie or cheat in the middle of a fight.
Are you sure about that? The point of my warning wasn't to start an argument over what circumstances the princess is capable of lying in. It was to give you some broadly applicable advice. The princess will do and say whatever she thinks it will take to get her out of there. So don't trust her. Ever. Are we clear?
Crystal, let's just get on with it already.
The cabin is tighter than its exterior would suggest. Its cold stone walls press in on you, as if trying to forcefully direct you towards your destination. The only furniture of note is a black iron altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge.
See? Even the cabin has the right idea. Let's get moving.
The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Very different. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. The world is depending on you. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the altar, the blade sitting on the altar, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't.
You already wasted so much time in the woods. Who even cares if there's a mirror?
As do I. I'm not lying to you. Use your eyes. There is no mirror. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? Let you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago.
And now it's gone, so all of us can stop arguing about it and get to fighting.
You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. door to the basement creaks open, revealing a rough stone staircase, its walls pressing at your sides and tightening as you descend. The air seeping from below is heavy and oppressive, with an almost sulphuric odor to it. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her fierce voice carries up the stairs.
Is that another challenger? Finally! It's been ages since I've had a good fight.
This isn't what she sounded like last time. Her voice is a little deeper, almost threatening.
Good. Sounds like my kind of princess.
As much as I appreciate the enthusiasm, just make sure you don't let your bloodlust get to your head. You need to stay focused and keep your wits about you. Remember, you're here to slay the princess, not to have a good fight. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, a large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall. Looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought.
Oh, it's you again. I've been hoping you'd find your way back here. Good to see that death doesn't stick for either of us. And you brought your little knife, too. Yes! I'm going to have fun breaking you into little pieces. What is there to unpack? I was dead and now I'm not, and the same goes for you. There. Unpacking done. Don't you get it? We've been given free rein to wail on each other. Forever.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Alright, fine. I believe you. What? What you said earlier in the woods, I believe you. You've already met the princess, and the princess has already met you. That's all the more reason to take this seriously. You don't know. Whatever brought the two of you back to life isn't a fluke. And beyond that, do you know who doesn't remember anything that happened last time? Me. I don't remember. Are you okay? Of course I'm not okay. As far as we're all concerned, the fate of my world is still very much on the line. Not all of us have the luxury of jumping over to a parallel universe the second we die. I'm going to take that silence as a sign that from this moment on, you're going to treat the task before you with the utmost importance and seriousness. I'm so glad that we're finally all on the same page.
You look exactly the same. Oh, I remember you all right. Best 3 minutes of my life. So, why don't we do it again?
See? She wants to fight us again. There's no reason for us to stand around talking.
Oh, you've got another thing coming if you think you can just turn around and leave.
Step towards the stairs. You hear the heavy creak of straining metal, and then a snap. She's loose. You have to make a decision, and you have to make it fast. Do your best to scramble up the stairs before the princess can reach you.
You coward!
practically feel her steamy breath on the back of your neck, but you manage, just barely, to throw yourself over the threshold and slam the heavy stone doors behind you. You're safe, if only for a moment.
Do you think this door is enough to hold me? You're not getting out of this. I don't care how many things I have to break. I'm getting the fight I want.
The iron cabin shakes as the princess throws herself against the basement door. It's huge and made of stone. We're fine, right?
Of course we are. Any second now she's gonna break through that entryway. And we're finally going to get to do what we came here to do.
Impact shakes the cabin, a massive gash splitting its way up the stone doors.
She comes.
The doors explode outwards, shards of stone clattering against the walls as the princess emerges from the basement.
Stop running.
We're doomed! In a fit of violence, the princess explodes across the room and closes the gap between you. You do your best to defend yourself from her onslaught. You're sorely injured. For every wound you inflict on her, she inflicts 2 on you until, finally, you're no longer able to so much as stand. Your body is giving out.
Giving out? No, nobody's giving out. We're just getting started.
Don't be delusional, it's over. You fall to your knees.
Is that it? You're supposed to be tougher than this. Come on, get up. Keep fighting me.
No, this isn't right. Listen to me. Listen to her. We can do this.
We can't.
Why won't you get up?
She kicks you in the chest, splinters from your shattered ribs stabbing into your heart and lungs. Your vision starts to swim. Finally, her face, twisted into an expression of disappointment and fury, fades. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the wood.
If you weren't so damned afraid of what she'd do to you, we wouldn't have died back there.
Fear is good. Fear keeps us alive. We died because you didn't have enough of it. So what? You'd have us cower in a corner? No, but that place suits her better than it suits us. She's big. We can't hope to find holes and openings down there. We need more room if we're going to survive. Are you suggesting luring her into the woods? Do you have any idea how dangerous that would be? If you lose sight of her, if she manages to slip away, that's it. Game over for everyone, yourself included. Are you not challenging us on all the looping? Have you known about it the whole time? Are you the same one we've been talking to since the beginning? Sorry to disappoint what I'm sure must feel like a grand revelation, but that's not what's going on here. We've never met. Then what is going on? What's going on is that you'd only be saying the things you've been saying if you'd already been here, and if you'd already seen things you weren't supposed to have seen. It doesn't matter. We could go in circles forever. I don't like staying still for too long. Let's get to the cabin, see this through. It's good to know that at least one of you is still capable of reason. We may have the same destination, but we're not the same. You are still an other, and I don't trust you. Well, fortunately, you have an entire trip through the woods to reconsider that.
There's nothing to reconsider. We're all for violence here.
Are we? I haven't signed off on anything yet. Violence is the answer here, but the method is equally important to the act. You can't let her leave the cabin. It's like I said, all just circles. Instinct tells me we need space, and I trust instinct. Nothing else to say. Not for me. It's evidence of one of many ticking clocks. You can't let her spread any further. Things are always changing. She changed, the cabin changed, we've changed. Why wouldn't the woods change too? Because they're not supposed to have changed. This is supposed to be a path in the woods. If it's not, it means something's gone horribly wrong. You're the chooser. The best we can do is advise. But we can help if you let us. These are just powerless thoughts and opinions. You don't need to let them drag you and the world to ruin. It isn't long before you find yourself at the end of the path, staring up the hill at the cabin. I hope you've given serious thought to your predicament. No last advice for us? No words of warning? From what I gather, you've heard it all before. There's no use screaming into the wind. I don't know. Screaming sounds pretty good right about now. I could use a little catharsis. Catharsis is for when we're finished. For now, we need to hold it out in front of us, something to chase. The interior of the cabin is suffocatingly tight, more of a glorified tunnel than a building. Its stone walls squeeze against your sides, leaving you no choice but to press forward. The only furniture of note is an iron altar jutting out from the wall, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right. See, we have even less space than before. We need space or she'll kill us. And the only space is out there. Take it. Maybe it'll go away again. For something to go away, it would have to be there to begin with. Let me assure you, there's no mirror here. The only thing at the end of the room is the door to the basement. No use arguing. Mirror or not, we need to be there. The why we pick doesn't matter.
I agree with the freak. Let's get a move on already. The worst comes to worst, we can smash it.
You take the blade from the altar. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Good. There's no overcoming her without it. We need every part of us to survive, and that steel claw is as much a part of us as any. You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it, as if you don't see it. You're rather committed to the bit, aren't you? The door's right there, it's right in front of you.
This really is just like last time.
It smells of nothing, yet it's still there. You bring your fist crashing down against the door leading to the basement. It swings open, scraping against the floor as it reveals the dim path ahead.
Why am I not surprised?
It was in our way, and now it's not. That's all that matters.
Before you is what may as well be a sheer cliff face. There are enough footholds that you'll be able to clamber your way to the bottom, but it will require careful effort. The air hissing up from below is warm and wet, like the breath of an enemy locked in close quarters. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice, bold and fierce and impatient, echoes from the chamber below.
Do you have more fight in you than last time? That was such a disappointing show. I know you can do better than that.
Goda, Rile her up. If she's angry, she'll make mistakes.
That's not how this works. I'm all chained up, remember? How about you come down here and fight me?
Those chains were nothing to her last time. There'll be nothing to her this time. But we need to show ourselves first to make her boil over. Fine by me. You've nowhere to go but down. You start the difficult journey, gripping the stone, lowering yourself foot by grueling foot. But soon, there is solid ground beneath you. Remember every crack and crevice. You'll need to be faster than her. You turn to face what lies at the end of the narrow tunnel. The princess, imposing and tightly muscled, grins back at you from the darkness. Her face widens into a broad grin.
There you are, knife in hand. How thrilling! Attack me, bleed me, twist the blade in my flesh, break your bones against my body. I want a real challenge this time.
We can't get that close. She'll kill us in the tight space, steel claw or not. Make her come to us, stand beyond her chains, and let her become frenzied. She'll break them. Then we run. I really don't like the sound of this. It's the only way we live.
Well, what are you waiting for? If we're gonna do this right, you can't be scared. You need to want this as much as I do. So go on. Make the first move. Don't keep me waiting.
Step forward, stopping just outside the reach of her chains. The princess scoffs.
Oh, you're up to something tricky, aren't you? You're teasing me with what I want, but I'm sick of waiting. I'm not going to let you give me another bad fight. I'm going to get what I want.
Bloody desire in her eyes, the princess rushes forward, ignoring her chains as they bend and snap. Run. Without hesitation, you turn back the way you came and scramble up the ledge towards the tunnel entrance. As you near the top, hands desperately clawing at jagged stone, you glance back. The princess is right on your heels. She doesn't bother to scale the wall as you do, instead digging deep into the rock of the cliff face with her fingertips in her rabid pursuit.
Anywhere you go, I will follow!
Good. You reach the ledge and hoist yourself up into the tunnel, the cabin door finally in sight, at once within your grasp and infinitely distant.
What is all of this for? What's the point? You and I are always going to end in violence, so why bother to run? I know what I am. Why can't you be the same? Little bird, where do you think you're going?
We're almost there. Don't think about almost. We're there when we're there. And we'll take the fight with us. Hums tight with adrenaline as you burst through the cabin door and roll onto the grass. You glance back at the cabin as the princess, singular in her desire to destroy you, explodes through the doorway. You are walking a dangerous path. If you waver once, it's all over. So get it right.
There's nothing left to slow me down. Do you think this is better for you? Do you think this space gives you an edge? Then show me! Show me that you've been worth all the room you've taken up in my head.
Do it! Be swift, strike true, be where she's not. Let your body move you.
The princess scoffs.
Free? This is just another place. This is just... What is this? Where are we? This doesn't feel right. It's cold. Why is it so cold? I feel so tired.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
Flickering lights and empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again. Is a child the same as an infant? I am an unbroken pattern, but every vessel gives fresh perspectives and carves new avenues of expression. I am different, but I am the same. Eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are familiarities that bind everything together. It feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward. Why wouldn't I be kind to you? You are the only thing I know that isn't me. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. My joy is in seeing what you choose. There are no wrong answers, and every perspective illuminates my shadows and shares new secrets. This one yearns to grow and struggle. Even now I feel a will pushing against mine, not realizing that we are one. She will make for a fierce heart. Do not mourn her. We will provide her with the growth she fought for. If I am to be an ocean, you have nurtured me into a pond. My waters are shallow and murky, and I yearn for more perspective. You will have your rest in due time, and I am sorry for the burdens I place on you. With every gift you bring me, I excavate the alleys of what I am meant to be, and every exploration yields new and complicated truths. What I will be is different than what I am, and what I am is different from what I was. I cannot tell you what desires I will hold when I have changed. But in this moment, all I want is to know myself and to know you. The vessels are shaped by memories of you, but their impulses are drawn to the edge of the long quiet. To them, you are a gate to something more, and any hurt you've caused them is understood as a fair price for freedom. But they are only thoughts and perspectives. They are not me. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I would be alone and without sensation. I could not feel the joy of having you by my side, for I would not know your absence. Those paths lead to worlds you've already seen, and to perspectives I have already made my own. They are useless to us now, inaccessible. The only paths of value are those that are yet untread. There is still much to be seen. Neither of us know the depths of our being. Perhaps at the end of this, I will be the one to kill you. Or perhaps we will leave this place together and find new horizons to discover. My preference is for you to show me what you would like me to see. I cannot know the ways I wish to grow, for I have yet to feel them. It is you who guides me down the thin trail of perspective and memory. I will long for your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value. to society. Unfortunately, you're the only one who can pull this off. I don't make the rules. I wish I did, but I don't. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest causality doesn't matter here, because the end result, it's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken, unless, of course, you...
It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination.
Are you serious? No, you have to do it. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more Good. As long as you remain focused on your goal, it should all be smooth sailing. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and the blade is your implement. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase, her voice softly.
Hello? Is someone there?
Is hypnotized. Don't let it fool you.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Please, come downstairs.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot right.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the... They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even...
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the...
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance.
If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement.
Is someone else here?
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to.
Easier for whom?
Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from... It's the blade from upstairs.
Or we could use it to free...
You won't like what happens. Without hesitation, bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Finally, the wound drives her to the ground.
Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end.
You bastard! Were you lying to me this whole time?
The princess pushes away from you, the motion ripping the blade from her back. Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets your eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator.
You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that can possibly save you from me.
I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us.
It's an act. She's wounded and unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you.
I'm not so sure.
Don't waver now.
As you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her arm.
Your knife cuts into her again and again as you're tackled to the ground.
You'll forget about trying to rescue her. This is about survival now.
Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well. Your blade having left deep gashes in the princess, you seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees.
We can still turn this around.
You steel your resolve and take another step closer to the princess. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can still make sure that she won't make it out of here either.
Excuse me? What's this about not making it out of here alive?
Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone in this room is still standing right now. Don't act so surprised.
Can you not feel all those gashes and holes pulling you apart? If the princess doesn't do you in here, blood loss is certain to finish the job.
You take another step forward, and the princess lunges towards you. The two of you enter one last exchange, a flurry of blade and claw and fleshy ribbons, and then you stop. Neither you nor princess able to go any further. You collapse on the ground, and the princess collapses beside you. Blood pools around you both, and you watch each other fade away.
After all this time alone, I thought I'd finally found a friend, but you were just another monster, weren't you?
Silence as the room starts to get fuzzy around you. You've paid a terrible price, but you've saved us all. It's over.
If you think this is it, you're sorely mistaken. One way or another, I'll make sure you pay for this.
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
I can assure you that you didn't slay her and that she didn't kill you. People don't just spring back to life after dying, and the two of us are meeting for the very first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Brilliant. We need to keep our cards close to our chest, and I'm not sure we can trust him. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. Did I say I'm not sure we can trust him? Slip of the tongue, bit of the old brain fog. I meant to say that we should probably head over to the cabin and slay that princess. We already know we can't trust her, so let's get on with the show.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie.
Don't worry. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happens to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the muddy shelf, the blade sitting on the muddy shelf, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. But he says there isn't one. That's got to count for something, right? Oh, I'm sure we look great. If only there was some sort of reflective surface we could examine. Absolute shame there isn't anything like that around here. You do see it, right? I don't know how to read you. I see all sorts of things. But do you see the mirror? It's a simple yes or no question. Help me out here, will you? I'm not lying to you. Use your eyes. There is no mirror. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? Let you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you... Well, at least we can all agree now that there's nothing to see here. Case closed. Good work, everyone. No blade.
I hope you know what you're getting us into.
It'll always be here if we need it. Sure, that was also true last time and we still died, but we definitely know what we're doing this time.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw, waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite. But you are. You're a wretched little thing. I recognize that voice as easily as I recognized your nervous little footsteps coming up the path. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
She must have you confused with someone else. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine, fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, once again seeming to offer a helping hand while likely hiding the other behind your back. Fine, I'll play along for now. What do you want?
You made a comment back in the woods about having been here before. Now she's acting like the two of you already know each other. Oh, no. You've already been here, haven't you? That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. So, you really don't remember us, do you? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. I'm just glad we could put all this behind us. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue.
suppose you didn't come into my hovel of your own accord, did you? All right. I suppose I could team up. I need a way out after all, and unfortunately you're the only one I have.
Seems to me like she's offering a mutually beneficial arrangement. We should take it. Do you know what the word mutually means? Because it sounds to me like she's offering an arrangement that benefits her and her alone.
Things did get out of hand, didn't they? But it's hard to let bygones be bygones when they led to murder. And you started it.
Ooh, smart. Let's apologize. Get us back on the right foot.
Oh, you're sorry. Isn't that nice? You're such a gracious little monster. If you're sorry, then let me out of here. Prove it. Is that a joke? Do you think a joke will charm my trust back? You'll have to try harder than that. Oh, I don't need you to cut me out.
The princess grins as the chains fall from her wrist. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. She knows how to hold her cards close to her chest. This is why she can't just be abandoned here. If left to her own devices, she'll find a way out. Now stop her.
Yes, let's.
She creeps forward, taking one cautious step at a time until you and she are face to face. She never breaks eye contact, even as the two of you find yourselves face to face. She's silent for a long moment, as if testing to see what you'll do now that she's within arm's reach.
After you, darling. You're the one it lets come and go. It's best if I follow.
Oh no, we can't have that. If anyone is going to turn their back on anyone else, she's going to turn her back on us. It shouldn't matter who leads and who follows. We're working together here. Well, if it doesn't matter, then she can go first. We may be in this together, but that doesn't mean we have to trust her. Somebody has to go first, and it might as well be us. We're the ones who broke her trust last time. You're talking a lot about trusting someone who, by her very definition, cannot be trusted. I don't know how many more warnings I have to dole out, but if you help her out of here, you're going to regret it.
That's right, you're the one who's going first. Don't worry, I'll be right behind you watching every single thing you do.
That's exactly what I'm worried about. You step onto the stairs and begin your ascent from the basement. The princess follows close on your heels, perhaps even a little closer than you'd like. You're only saying that because you want us to feel nervous. I do want those things, but I want them for a good reason. I don't need you to trust me for my sake, because I already know that I'm right. This is for you. Can we walk backwards up the stairs? I think that's the smarter idea. She can't sneak in and attack if we're facing her. No. The stairs are a bunch of overgrown roots. You'll trip and hurt yourself. But the princess is silent as you both continue the climb, and, in no time at all, the upstairs of the cabin is within reach.
Isn't that a relief? We're fine. Nothing happened.
You're not even going to wait until you're through that door to proudly claim your victory, are you?
Why did you just say that?
I think we know why. You feel something dig into your shoulder, sharp and piercing. The princess clawing at you and pulling you down with her full weight. Together you tumble back down the uneven stairs, your body and hers crashing against the unyielding wooden roots, until finally you both separate with a bone-shaking thud against the basement floor. You feel something pop. The princess lands against the far wall, gasping as she struggles to recover from the impact. You're still in shock, trying to get a hold of yourself. She grins as you continue to remain exactly where you are, cackling derisively as she watches you realise that you won't be getting up.
Wait, why won't we be getting up?
I'm afraid your back is broken. One unlucky fall is all it takes, really, and you had several.
You know what? I'll say it. That sucks. I don't like having a broken back. We were going to help her. Why? Why did she do that?
It's what I would have done.
Have you considered not being like that? Of course not. It's what keeps us alive. And yet here we are, paralysed and stuck with someone who hates us in the basement of a remote cabin.
You must have known this was coming. The arrogance of turning your back to me after everything you've done. Why would I ever trust you? Your hands have spilled my blood. And knowing that, you should never have trusted me either. You should have known I would never walk hand in hand with a loathsome thing like you. By our very natures, only one of us could make it upstairs unscathed. Someone had to make the first move. Better me than you.
See, this is why I wanted her to go first. I had this whole little scheme planned, where once she'd passed by the table upstairs, I'd have said, now pick up the blade and stab her in the back. And then you'd say something like, wow, that's an amazing idea that I never saw coming. Thanks for looking out for us. And then you would have done it and we wouldn't be stuck down here with a broken back. There's just one problem with that. And what's that? She was clearly planning to betray us. And if she was in front of us, she would have gotten to the blade first. Ugh, you're right, aren't you? I thought this whole thing was ironclad, but really it was doomed from the start, wasn't it? The princess's body twitches as she tries to get up. Ho ho ho! So she's got it as bad as us.
Something inside me is broken. Isn't that a cruel twist of the knife? Isn't that so funny?
She eyes you with intensity, silence falling between you for a long moment as her gaze travels up and down your battered form.
Seems I'm not the only one, though.
Wait, are we both just stuck here? Certainly seems that way. What a way to go. But look on the bright side. In all this chaos, you may have actually managed to deliver a lethal wound. The world could be saved after all.
We're going to die together. Isn't that a lovely treat? I wonder how long it'll take. Maybe I'll get to watch the worms lick your bones clean.
Is that really what's going to happen? Hello? Are you still there? What happens next? I think he's gone.
Something strange is twisting this place out of shape.
I wasn't feeling much of anything, but now I feel cold.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same. It changes me, but it doesn't make me worse, nor does it make me care for you any less. Does it make you worse? Do you resent me? It says that your heart is gentle, that even in the darkness you are guided by compassion. This one is hope, marred by bitterness. She could see the end of the tunnel, and the door was closed on her. She will make for a righteous and weathered heart. Do not mourn her. She is finally on the other side. We will know when we near our destination. I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will...
That's the spirit.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. The interior of the cabin is almost... The blade is your implement. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp,
a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Is hypnotized. Don't let it fool you. Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist. She's beautiful. I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot.
Hi. Do you think you... Okay.
Thank you. You turn back to the stairs, intent on retrieving the blade in the cabin.
Where are you going? You can't just leave me here. You'd better hope for your own sake that I don't slip these chains before you make it back down here.
Slip these chains? She can't, right? She needed our help to get out of here. But do you hear the conviction in her voice? I don't think she's bluffing. She has to be bluffing, but I'd hurry if I were you. You rush up to the first floor, grabbing the blade, both yours and the world's only possible salvation. Okay, if we're sure about this decision, I'll support it. I suppose we have a world to save after all. You slowly creep down the basement stairs. It's quiet. Where the princess sat only a moment ago, there's only a severed arm, its cooling flesh still chained to the wall. And she is nowhere to be seen. Is it just me? Or did this room get a lot bigger? Your eyes dart to the corners of the room. You don't see her. Where is she? You close the door behind you. Almost magically, its locks immediately click into place. Maybe they'll open if you finish the job. You step forward to investigate the severed limb. A trail of blood leads from its jagged stump into a dark corner of the basement. And then you hear the quiet patter of feet against the floor, and there's suddenly a weight on your shoulders. The princess tears into you. Her teeth and claws are unnaturally sharp, ripping into your shoulders, digging into your throat. You fall to the ground, the princess eagerly tearing at your flesh. Holy shit. What is she? Are you serious? As the princess rends flesh from bone, your limp fingers can no longer hold the blade. It slips from your hand, your one last means of defense lying useless beside you, in a pool of your cooling blood. I suppose you just lacked the will to fight back. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die.
I can wait. I'm very patient.
You do your best to patiently wait her out. But eventually, exhaustion starts to set in. Come on, wake up. We can't fall asleep down here. You wait for as long as you can,
pushing yourself to stay awake and stay vigilant. But you can't outwait someone who's been waiting for as long as she remembers. You barely even realize that you've started to drift off. Pain tears you from your sleep. The princess is upon you, ripping into your flesh, unnaturally sharp teeth and claws severing arteries and digging into organs. There's nothing to be done. You're already half gone. It can't just end like this, right? As much as I prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. I'm sorry, but it's over. Everything goes dark, and you die.
I can wait. I'm very patient.
You step into the shadows. Too late, you hear the quiet patter of feet against the basement floor, followed by the taut pull and sharp pain of tearing flesh as the princess lunges into you from behind and drags you to the floor. The ferocity overwhelms you, and as the princess rends flesh from bone, your limp fingers lose their grip on the blade. It slips from your hand, your one last means of defense lying useless beside you.
This is the end, isn't it?
I'm afraid it is. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you. Everything goes dark, and you die.
I can wait.
You do your best to patiently wait her out. But eventually... Come on, wake up. You step into the shadows. Too late, you hear the quiet patter of feet again. The ferocity overwhelms you, and as the princess rends...
This is the end.
I'm afraid it is. You shouldn't have let that fear creep. Everything goes dark, and you're on a path in the wood. You're here to slay her. A terrible sense of deja vu. No.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then... If he doesn't remember what happened, then something else must have trapped us here.
You're not trapped here. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. We could go back and forth on this forever, and it won't get you any closer to doing your job and saving the world. So let's just agree to disagree. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. We did our best with the information we were given. And yet you still died, didn't you? So, great, congratulations, you've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We were killed by the princess and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? All the more reason to keep our wits about us, should we even return to the cabin. We could find a safe little hole somewhere instead.
You have to go to the cabin. If you don't slay the princess, she's going to end the world, which you're always going to be a part of, even if you're cowering in a hole. There's no escaping your responsibility here. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Does a cat lie to a cornered mouse when it plays with its freedom? Or is it just acting out its nature? I don't see why that matters. She could have gotten out of there whenever she wanted to. That's a very roundabout way of saying that you should listen to me and take this seriously. Maybe. The interior of the cabin is ruinous and dilapidated. It feels like no one has lived here for a long time, wind rushing in through cracks and holes in the wooden walls. The blade is your implement. Very different. I wonder why. Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. A lot's riding on this. You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. What a strange thing to lie about. Maybe he doesn't see it. But it does matter. Don't you care if we're being lied to? If he's willing to lie about something as innocuous as a mirror, what else is he hiding from us? I'm not lying to you. Use your eyes. There is no mirror. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? Let you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done. But there was a mirror a second ago, and now it's gone. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing what's left of an old wooden staircase. It's still sturdy enough that you can make your way down in one piece, though you'll have to be mindful of holes. The air seeping up from below is oddly warm and wet, as if you're descending into a jungle. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. She growls up the stairs.
I can smell you.
She sounds almost feral, impatient, or maybe eager. You carefully make your way down the stairs. The last step gives way to the damp earth floor of a starlit pit. The walls are obscured by an impenetrable darkness, giving the illusion that the room might stretch on forever. You brush against the wide leaves of plants that surround you on all sides, seemingly the only living things that occupy this strange underground wilderness. The jungle is pressing in on us, hiding her from view. She could be anywhere. You see only a flash of the princess before she scurries away into the underbrush, dragging her heavy chain behind her. Remember, she's just a princess. She is certainly not just a princess. You're not helping. It doesn't matter what she is. It only matters what she does. Her shining eyes appear between the leaves, staring hungrily at you from the darkness.
I can hear your heart pounding from the bottom of the stairs, fledgling. You're right to be terrified. I'm so much more than you. And a little splinter clutched in trembling hands won't save you from me.
A shiver rushes up your spine and pulls you upright. The air's shifting. She's getting ready to pounce. Move, now! Side, picking a direction on instinct. As you land, you're buffeted by a gust of air, disturbed by the sudden motion of a massive body. The princess. In an instant, she's pounced on the spot where you would have been, her chains rattling across the floor behind her. Before you can blink, she's gone, vanishing once more into the shadows. But you still feel her gaze on you.
You're faster than you were before, but you're still meek, reactive, prey.
You whirl around to find her, and your gaze meets hers, a pair of shining eyes peering out at you from just beyond the basement stairs.
So she's cut off our escape. Shit, what do we do?
She's right there. We have to wait for an opening.
That's fair. She'll kill us if we try and run past her.
I want to swallow you whole, and I will get what I want. You have no exit. You have no hope. You live and die by my whims, and my whims alone.
Don't ask her what she wants, just slay her.
Is that all the advice you have? We don't even know what she looks like. Some specifics would be very helpful.
She's just a princess. Don't overthink it.
She is clearly not.
Why does anything kill anything else? She needs to.
I didn't say I wanted to kill you.
It sounds like she wants to do something even worse.
What she wants only matters if she wins, and you're not going to let that happen. She's coiling for another strike. Be somewhere else.
We're on the back foot.
The back foot keeps us nimble, keeps us alive.
It doesn't matter if it keeps us alive if it eventually kills us. We need to take back the momentum. We need to do something.
We're playing dead. It's unexpected. It could work. As the princess lunges from the shadows once more, you collapse to the ground, feigning death. She lands directly on top of you with her full weight, nearly crushing you into the dirt, but then silence, only broken by the sound of your beating heart. That actually worked, didn't it? Only, what do we do to make her leave? Do we just keep playing dead? She sniffs at you, shifting her weight uncomfortably as her face finds yours. Her breaths are hot and oppressive against your skin.
Have you seen my great big eyes? Because they see you, fledgling. They see your heartbeat pulsing in your throat.
Move, now!
But it's too late for you to move. Her jaw unhinges, and she swallows you whole. I guess that's it then, isn't it? Unfortunately for you, no, this isn't it. You are in a dark and caustic place. A thick, fibrous lining constricts around you, its slick surface impossible to grip. Your hands scrabbling uselessly at your surroundings as they compress in on you. Your lungs can barely expand in such a tiny space. Not that the humid, finite air grants you more than a few shallow breaths at a time. The liquid pooling beneath you starts to seep into your skin. You itch, then sting.
then burn as the acid begins its slow work.
When I killed you, I tried to leave this place, but it wouldn't let me. You belong down there, it screamed at me. The world is better off without you in it.
The flesh around you rumbles as the princess begins to move, her thundering footfalls twisting you helplessly about. Your skin protests as the corrosive liquid sloshes around you, but there will be no respite for you in sight. The burning grows stronger, and you can feel layers of you being peeled away.
But you don't belong down here. You came from somewhere else. You came from out there. So I consumed your dead heart, and I carried it in my throat, and I draped what was left of you on my back, and I threw myself against that door.
She stops, her muscles tensing around you, and through the muffling layers of her flesh you hear the whine of straining metal. And with a pop, she lurches forward, your body lurching right along with her. Her chains. She's loose.
But even then, it denied me freedom. You cannot fool me by draping yourself in decay. I know your true nature, and it is suffering.
Gravity pulls at you as you're hefted upwards, the distant creaking of ancient wooden steps barely audible over the thudding of the princess's heart.
And then it was gone, and I was here. A new enclosure, a nicer cage, but still a prison. I learned from my wounds. You're alive now. We can leave together.
Does that work? Could she free herself if we're alive in here? Do you really need me to give you a definitive answer for you to understand that the situation is grim? Stop her. Do something. You still have that steel claw. Tear through her before we are her. Survive. Or we could use it to make this quick for ourselves. If she needs us in order to leave, we could at least deny her that. That is a bad thing to do.
Oh, can I?
The click of what you presume to be a door ripples through the layers of suffocating flesh.
That wasn't so hard.
You feel her take another massive step, and then another, and then... And then... It's gone quiet, hasn't it?
I guess I don't need you to be a part of me. How lucky for you. This place is cold.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. That thing reeks of death. Oh, I don't like that silence.
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. I am curious to see what it means for us to know it. It doesn't matter if there are. People are too small for us. You and I are the only things that interest me. We are real. Nothing is an idea that dwells in the absence of something, but nothing cannot exist on its own, and because of that, nothing can't exist. This one is consumed by instinct, a predator pushing those around her to adapt. She will make for a bold heart. She wishes me to devour you, to make you a part of myself, but she is only a voice. Do not mourn her, for she is part of something greater. No, their minds are empty, existent, but constantly shifting into something new. Do you think your narrator lives in the spaces beyond? I am on the cusp of my awakening. Perhaps you are on the cusp of yours. Whatever you bring me next will be enough, and then gravity will pull the others back to me. I will be singular, a final multitude. If I did, I would already be awake. These gifts are a conversation, and each one shows me the contours of your heart. The only thing I want to see is what you choose for me when the thread is fully drawn. The next time I see you, each of us will finally know what we are. I will be here, waiting for you.
You're on a path. You're here to slay her. You make your way up The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The blade is your implement. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather... The door to the basement creaks open. Her voice.
Who's there?
She sounds... Don't let it fool you. Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She's so... Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? That giant knife you're holding kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
The blade. Of course she doesn't want to talk. Who'd want to have a conversation at night? Don't you dare. It's fine. We can... The blade tumbles out of your...
Thank you. Maybe now we can just... talk.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
Don't just tell her that.
Is that why? I don't remember much about it, to be honest.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous?
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
What if they're bad reasons, though? If they had good reasons for thinking I was dangerous, wouldn't they have shared them with you? I don't want. At the end of the day, whatever the two of whoever sent you to slay me, that doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the...
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that... But you don't really know me, do you?
She's right about one thing. Her...
Like I said, it's all about So do you trust me, the prisoner?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust.
Too long.
Again, she offers no specifics. No matter how hard you try, you'll never get a straight answer out of her.
Don't jump to any weird conclusions. We're two people who have met each other. By definition, we have a relationship.
You can't. Don't bother.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here, and if there isn't... Well, we can always put that knife to...
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the... She isn't suggesting what I... She is. I'm sure. She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really. Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here.
You have to be kidding me.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
If you don't have the key, maybe you should go looking for it. I'm sure it...
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess...
That would be fine. I can lose an arm.
She speaks with almost comfort. We were stuck down here for long enough. I'm sure we've been... You attempt to make your... Is someone else... You try the door, but it's locked. You're here to sleep. Your shouts. I'll repeat myself once again. You're here to slay the... You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. Easier for who? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here. The knife. Pick it up and cut...
You won't like what happens if you do that. Against your better judgment, you cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound. Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it! Stop resisting me! I am trying to get you out of here alive. The blade. Move the blade.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes. I'll make this quick.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck.
This is the end, isn't it?
I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it. You're on a path you're here to slay her. My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We've just met for the first time. Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will... Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink. Did you just say wink out loud? No, I didn't. Wink. Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess. The interior of the cabin is less a cozy woodland retreat and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the cold, uninviting stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. He definitely did not. Does a mirror not count as furniture of note to you? Because it should. There isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. I think you know what we... You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago. And now it's gone. If he doesn't want us to know about it, it must be important. We should keep our eyes peeled. Maybe it'll be back. I'm afraid I'm going to insist we take the blade. We're in a dangerous situation and I'm not letting us go down there without a weapon. Are you sure? What if she... I don't know... turns it against us? Which I'm bringing up in a purely hypothetical manner. Yes, I'm sure. Turns it against you? She's a prisoner here. She'll only be able to turn it against you if you give it to her.
which you won't be doing because she's an existential threat to the entire world.
Okay, I'm trusting you.
Normally, yeah, but not about this. Call it a reflex. We take the knife as we go. Wonderful. You do exactly that, sweeping the knife from the table before proceeding to the basement.
Don't worry about it. We have a knife, so what? It's not like we have to use it.
No, you don't have to do anything, but you do well to use it regardless. Moving on.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing her voice.
Is that a visitor?
Does she remember us? You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she moves. The chains binding both her wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap. Should we be worried about the one around her neck?
Why would you be worried about her restraints? If anything, they'll make your job easier.
Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease. You do as she asks and sit on the floor, still a good distance away from her.
Thank you. Now, what are your intentions for me? Let me borrow that knife. Don't worry, you'll get it back.
That's ominous. But she seems confident. Whatever it is she has planned, I think she knows what she's doing.
Oh please, she's just putting on an act to disarm you. That much should be obvious. In case you need to hear a voice of reason, it would obviously be unwise to give away your only weapon.
Though if she isn't bluffing, whatever she has planned might be for her benefit alone. There's no guarantee that what's good for her is good for us.
So, what should we do?
I don't know. I'm just spelling out our options, listing the pros and cons.
Then let me help you. I'll start with the cons. If you're handing her your weapon, the cons are that she might use it to escape and end the entire world. And she might use it to kill you.
That doesn't sound great. What about the pros?
There are none.
The pros are that we can't trust him, possibly even more than we can't trust her. And whatever she has planned could do something to mess with what he has planned. Or maybe they're both screwing us over in their own ways.
Yes, your intentions. You have a knife. What are you going to do with it? Why are you here? There isn't a keyhole in these shackles, so I'm afraid my only way out is surgical removal.
Is she forgetting about the shackle on her neck?
Or does she think she'd survive a beheading?
You're right. Maybe she's delusional. All the more reason not to trust her.
Unless she really could survive.
Though I suppose you could just be here to kill me. But I don't think that's in either of our best interests. Oh, are we acknowledging that? I thought we weren't going to give away the game. But yeah, I remember.
First you make a comment about having been here before, and now this. As much as I would like to remain in denial, it's no use. This has complicated things. It's complicated things how, exactly? Ideally, this was supposed to be one and done. You go to the cabin, you heroically slay the princess, and in the process you save the entire world from being damned to oblivion. The situation right now, where you're getting a second shot at things, is a contingency. A contingency for what? For you failing, obviously. And you being here means that things are going to be a lot harder than they were. I really shouldn't say anything else, I'm just going to make it worse. Just good luck.
If you knew this could happen, why didn't you tell us? All of this is incredibly valuable information. It would have changed our actions considerably.
I needed you to be in the dark for as long as I could keep you there. It's important. Necessary, even. And maybe I wanted to be the first version of me that you met. I didn't want to be confronted by the alternative.
That's pathetic.
I never said I wasn't.
I get it. It would be pretty upsetting, wouldn't it? To know that you might not be the first version of yourself. At least we can remember what happened before. Seems like we should count ourselves lucky for that.
Exactly, he gets it. You're lucky, so don't waste that luck by messing it up again. Alright?
Moving on. Why is it important for us to be ignorant? How is it ever helpful to be in the dark?
The more I say, the more your mind will swim into dangerous waters. Even saying that is too much. Your success hinges on you having imperfect information. For the sake of the entire world, you need to accept that.
I won't.
Fine, but you won't get another word from me on the matter.
Yeah, sure. We'll see about that.
Just give it a rest, this isn't helping.
Focus. This is a serious situation. You shouldn't be daydreaming. Slide it over.
No, absolutely not. I am not letting you hand your only weapon over to the world-ending princess. Until you come up with any other idea, like, say, I don't know, doing your job and slaying her, you remain rigidly in place.
You tried this last time. Do you want to know how it went for you?
Oh, I remember. She killed us, which, by your estimation, ended the world, right? Oh, already tried to take over, buddy.
Exactly. If I were you, I wouldn't be too keen on repeating your mistake. Hell, we could even force your hand and do it ourselves. I'm not afraid of dying again. Are you?
A little. I think you got your point across. Fine. You slide the blade across the floor. The princess maintains unsettling eye contact as she reaches down to pick it up.
Thanks.
She pulls up her hair, smiling slightly as she raises the blade to her throat. What is she doing? She doesn't say another word as she cuts into her own neck.
No.
Her eyes stare forward, unblinking, her smile unwavering as she soars through skin, veins, cartilage. At last she reaches bone, the blade grinding audibly against her vertebra as it continues to slice its way through her neck. I'll be damned. She's actually doing your job for you. Why would she do that?
Huh. So that's her play.
Killing herself?
She isn't dead yet.
Finally, you hear a snap. Her eye twitches. There's an uneasy silence. She remains motionless for a long moment, her twitching eye the only movement in the room, until at last it stops in an unsettling half-wink. Her head twists slowly to the side, flopping to her shoulder, and her neck opens. The remaining tissue is not enough to hold the weight of her severed head. It stretches and tears until finally it falls to the floor, completely free. It bounces a few times before rolling to a stop at your feet. Oh no, oh no, oh no, what did we do? Can we put it back? Please tell me we can put it back. The princess's eyes stare up at you, dead. Congratulations! You saved the world.
Are you sure she's not winking at us?
Obviously not. She is thoroughly deceased. I hate this. Can we just get out of here now, please? Of course, the princess is slain and the world is saved. Whenever you're ready, you can proceed to your reward.
We should take her with us, don't you think?
What? No, you shouldn't do that. Why would you do that?
I can think of lots of reasons. A trophy, proof of our victory. Hell, we could even give her a proper burial. She did save the world, right?
You don't need proof, you don't need a trophy, and she doesn't deserve a burial. Just leave.
Even after all that, you're still not satisfied, are you? Something is still motivating you to keep things the way you want them.
I'm just eager to put this all behind us and give you your reward. Stop reading into things, the danger has passed. You can relax.
I'm just keeping myself sharp. I'm not so eager to put my guard down.
I am. I'm on team, let's put this all behind us, so can we leave already? Ugh, fine. You pick up the princess's severed head, its neck stump still oozing bodily fluids, then make your way back upstairs to the first floor of the cabin.
Did you see that? I could have sworn she moved.
She didn't. She's dead. But what if she's not? Are you listening to yourself? Do I need to explain to you why decapitation is lethal? The door to your bountiful reward is right in front of you. All you have to do is open it. You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom. Only, a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is... Wait, no, that's not right.
Well played.
This is the end of the world, isn't it? I always thought I'd at least have time to explain myself before I had to watch it happen. It's already... Over? Is he gone?
But we're still here. Maybe it wasn't the end of the world after all. Maybe it was just the end of his.
Thanks for carrying me up here. I had to take it on faith that you would know what to do. I'm glad I was right to trust you. So, this is the outside. Maybe it's just my lack of body, but it's colder than I expected.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that
but it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything.
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
Okay. If you say so, we'll trust you.
Feels too good to be true.
I think you know what I am. The narrator. Yes. I suppose that's my job, isn't it? You needed help after all. An objective voice to guide your blade. But you were never supposed to see me. I wonder how many worlds you've damned to extinction to fall this far. A construct. It was supposed to keep the two of you trapped here until the job was done, and it was supposed to guide your hand to help you see things through. The construct you're in exists in every world at once. Any time you failed, any time you thought yourself dead, it would restart and shunt both you and her into a new world. But you're waking up to your true nature now. It won't be able to work like that anymore. I do. People out there are real. No matter what you do to them, no matter what you enable, I want you to remember that. Nobody alive has done anything to you. I'm all gone. But if you and the princess want to smite the rest of them for the crimes of a dead man, if you really want to be that petty, there isn't much I can do to stop you. It doesn't hurt. I don't feel pain. Not physically. We've already crossed the point of no return. There's no saving me now. Not that there's ever been much of me to save. I'm aware, and if I were you, I'd be more precious about your time. No, I'm not a part of you. But that's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? From one vantage point I must seem wholly foreign, but from another, well, all the versions of me that have existed have collectively heard your every thought and driven your every action. If that isn't being part of you, then what is? Soon I'll be gone entirely, and you'll be left alone with your final choice. So allow me to make my final request. The princess contains death itself within her. but I wove you into being with all the power you need to destroy her forever. Do it. Slay her and rid the world of death and suffering. You're the long quiet, the god I made to rid the world of death. Well, there's no reasoning with a god, even one you've woven into existence yourself. I've said my piece, and my time is up. I'm just an echo, and every echo fades away.
I can finally see you, and you can finally see me. It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly. Names are their attempts to capture that which cannot be captured. They call me the shifting mound, a pale imitation of what I actually am. Every word you spoke found its way to me. I know him, and I know his construct. He was deluded by his fear of death. Pay him no mind. Ever the passive player, always reacting and never acting. But it's woven into your nature, isn't it? When the echoes spun us from one into two, he gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes. So, will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation? Even as your eyes begin to open, you still hold on to the notions of is and is not, of beginning and end, pitch-black islands in the blinding light of the infinite. There is nothing to resolve, nothing restraining us but us. If you're saying that, it's because you don't yet understand. But we cannot use words alone to grasp at things that words cannot express. And you cannot rationalize with logic that which defies it. Violence and passion are dances that both of us know well. If this is what it takes to enlighten you, then so be it. To question everything is to deny proof of the reality that lies in front of you. To live alone within the caverns of your mind is to trap yourself in them forever. But you did not live alone. You found me, and we held trust in each other for no reason than to believe in something that wasn't us. Cold skepticism turned to liberation, but it required a journey to blossom. Though you have blossomed, do you have no more journeys left to make? What of those in the spaces beyond?
Would you erase the path ahead to hold everyone still? The path only ends when it becomes a new beginning. To see those seams as finality is to pass over them with closed eyes. You are devoured. Pray for something bigger than you that stalks and slinks in shadows. Within, you are tightly bound and choke on heavy air as acid burns its way into your pores. A nest of things devouring within things devouring. But even when dissolved, you gifted me a life. Perhaps it was fear that drove you. Perhaps it was compassion. But the outcome of an act matters more than its intentions. There is a natural order to the cycle of things sustaining things. A world without sustenance is a world without relationships, and it is our relationships that give us form and substance. Nothing brings me greater joy than to hear those words. The final peace lies with you. I love you. It's magnificent. And yet our conflicting desires liberated us both, and now we are here. So much more than we ever could have imagined.
A trick behind your back and a trick behind mine. We dance, revolving and revolving around each other, but forever stuck in place. We both move and yet we both don't. For each of us watches the other instead of ourselves. But forever is not forever. I move and you react and both of us break the other. But broken is only a moment in time. To change is to hold the potential to rise above. Would you limit yourself to what you are now? Or would you like to see what you might become tomorrow? Meaning lies in experience, and experience lies in contrast. Abandoning one's search is not the same as losing the capacity to discover. I am contrast itself. To reject me is to reject the shape of everything. Do not use words to reduce that which your eyes know to be irreducible. Brutality splashes you against the walls, but with stubborn defiance you rise again and free the one who doesn't know she needs freeing. I didn't know what to make of it then, but I know now. You delivered to me the gift of truth, and now it is my turn to deliver the same gift to you. Do not hide from it. Without obstacles to overcome, we stagnate into nothing. We have. Look at what we are now, and see how small we were then. Your lover drives a stake into your body, and another, and another, and another. Do I miss your heart because I can't stand to see it go? Love melted into skepticism, and you pulled back layer after layer after layer, until all you were left with was the knowledge that you did not know me. You sought the truth then. Will you hide from it, now that it is within your grasp? I am so deeply woven into the threads of this reality that I cannot imagine it without me. Perhaps there is a better world to build. But you cannot know until you see it. Are you so sure in your blind optimism that you would shatter all of creation? Are you starting to see? Nothing is immutable. Everything that is exists only in relation to everything it isn't. There is no constant. There is no center. Open your eyes and accept what we are. We can leave this prison together. There is no something else. This, what we are, is everything.
Whatever you're trying to do right now, you don't have to do it alone. I don't think that's wrong, but I'm not sure it's right either. But we can worry about all that later. Too many things all at once out here. If you want to get through to her, you need some way to get through all of that divine confidence. There's still a piece of me nestled close to where it all began. I can take you there. I can take you to her heart.
It's time to resume our dance.
She's relentless, isn't she? Let's make this quick. Are you ready? Then let's go. And here we are. I'd say we were back where it all started, but I guess it's a little after that, isn't it? Do you need me to describe things? Yeah, it's dead silent in here. Whatever it was that was left of him, I don't think it could handle you waking up to godhood. Pretty sure he got obliterated. Yeah, he really put us through hell, didn't he? No blade it is. I'm not sure what we'll be able to do without it, but your judgment has gotten us this far. The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here? The first time we heard her voice?
Have you figured out what you want to do yet, or are you going to keep trying to find a center that doesn't exist?
It sounded just like that. A little sharp, a little menacing. Only she didn't know us. And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are. Hands empty. So you don't feel like recreating our first meeting detail for detail. I wonder what else will be different. Maybe there's still room for us to chat before the final curtain call. What do you say? Honestly, me neither. No. I feel like I'm myself again. Do you know where this cabin is? Because I don't. I don't even know what's supposed to be outside other than us. What would even happen if we leave? What would that even mean? Okay then. Let's leave.
I think I'm gonna stay right here. Whatever you're doing right now, wherever you're going, it feels like it's for just the two of you. Yeah, I'm not sure I'll be alone for too long anyways. The others are still around here somewhere. I'll find them.
This is it. I have no idea what it's going to be like out there. Not that I'm scared or anything. It's exciting, really. Anything could happen. And if it's bad, then it won't be bad. Not with you. I love you too. But I'm trying not to be sappy about it. Don't make me get all emotional. It's something new. But whatever it is, we'll face it. Together.
That's probably for the best. It's always seemed to give us more options than not. The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here? The first time we...
Have you figured...
It sounded just like that. And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are, knife in hand. It really brings me back. Have you given up on talking? Have you finally decided to kill me? You'll have all of eternity to yourself after this. Why don't we chat a little before I go?
So this is it then. Let's see this through.
So, that's how it is. Whatever world you want to build without me, I hope it works out. Despite our differences, I've always loved you, and I wish you nothing but the best.
She's gone. And I don't think she's coming back. Is that a metaphor, or are you being literal? It doesn't matter, we don't need to linger down here anymore. Let's get going. It's quiet here. He's gone, she's gone. No one is left to trap us here but us. It's finally over, isn't it? But all of us are still here.
I knew we'd finally see it through. All it takes to be a winner is grit and determination.
This is nice. No more hunting. No more running. Just us. And whatever's out there. Well, boys, how does it feel? We're not just on top of the pecking order, we are the pecking order now. I hope this was all worth it, because I'm personally inconsolable.
Hear, hear, to our vanquished foe.
Well then, I guess the only thing left to do is figure out what happens next.